Alright guys, let's get right into it. This client might look familiar. I've done this client before, but we're switching up a little bit. You know, it's short on top. We're gonna do a 1.5 with the grain, and we're gonna spread out the taper some. It's literally gonna look almost like a mohawk, but not really, right? So 1.5 with the grain, closed, and he has some like light areas towards the front. So I'll either open it up or just kind of coast it a little bit, right? I don't know if you guys can see that, but by doing this technique, once we line it up, it comes out pretty nice. And what you're gonna find on this haircut, you're gonna see he has a lot of creases and stuff on the side of his head, so it does make it challenging to do this fade, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I would consider this a unique haircut. So doing a number 2 guard now against the grain, and we are gonna blend down, right? And we just did the number 2 guard just to create our foundation. So now that we're balding it out with the trimmers and the shaver, we know that we're gonna fade the initial guideline to a number 2, or fade the 2 to bald. And that's essentially what we're gonna do. We're gonna fade down. So right underneath the number 2, we're gonna follow it up with the 1.5 guard, and I believe it's closed. Underneath that, we'll use the number 1 guard, and it's open. And essentially what we're doing is we're trying to fade without guidelines, without creating lines. For some people, this is a faster technique. For some, it's a slower technique. You gotta try it all, and figure out what works best for you. All right, so now we have the no guard open, the blade open, and we're gonna fade into the work we just did. So we're gonna fade up now, but we know we're fading up into a number 1 guard. And you guys can see that the blend pretty much is in there. Now we just gotta do a little bit of detail work. While we're there with no blade, with no guard, we're gonna go ahead and blend in the beard. And you'll see now that I'm starting to detail. One of the guards that I use typically to detail is the half guard, or the 1/16. For Andes, it's a number 0 guard. And you guys can see the extra time that we spend detailing it. It really brings the blend to a whole nother level. And we're constantly brushing it to the direction of the hair growth pattern. You don't want to fight that. You want it to lay naturally the way it grows. And yes, guys, I did switch the blade. It's a taper blade. It's the blade that comes on the original Gray Seniors, or I believe the Wall Icon. And I gotta say this every video, they are not 0 gapped. So we're pretty much gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I think this side might be tougher to blend than the other. You can already tell there's like dark spots and light spots because of all the creases in his head. And you can see as I'm putting pressure on his scalp with the clipper, you can see the scalp moving. And it's funny because like sometimes, like you saw, I was kind of struggling there. Like the number 2 guard just wasn't cutting the hair the way it was cutting on the other side. So this is all trial and error. I noticed that, and we switched to the 1.5 guard, and it did the job. So we're balding this side out, and now just like we did on the other side, we'll just blend up into the work we just did as we were blending down. So we know that from this initial guideline, we'll be blending into a 1 guard. and you open up the lever every, third of, like, for every, so you're gonna open it up probably like 2 or 3 times, and you just open it every time you go up like a third of an inch. So I hope I didn't confuse you guys there, but and like I said on the other side, we didn't use the half guard or the number 0 guard, but we used it there a little bit just to detail it. This is the number 1 guard, and I'm sure I'll probably follow it up with the 116 right underneath just to bring it all together. Cause like I said, there's a lot of creases here, so a lot of stretching of the scalp, a lot of corner work, and a lot of trial and error to get this side right. Because if not, it's just going to have too many little dark spots and it's not going to look like a nice blend. This isn't the perfect canvas by any means, but you could still make it a dope cut by paying attention to detail. And I think that's one of the things that customers appreciate the most, because most barbers aren't going to do this. They're not going to spend a little bit of extra time. And I'll be honest with you, like, it doesn't take me a long time to cut his hair. For haircut and beard, cutting his hair, even though it's a little tougher than most of my clients, I'll still cut his hair faster than most barbers take on a good canvas. But it's not because I cut fast, it's because I understand hair. And that's one of the things, like, if you're kind of like frustrated because it takes you forever to cut hair, do a haircut, whatever, it's not because you're not moving fast enough. It's not because you're skipping steps. It's just with repetition, you start to learn little things. Like, you start to see things before you start cutting into it. That, for example, like, if you see a dark spot, you're not going to use the same guard that you use on the other side. You're going to use there. You got to lower it some, right? Or you got to use your corners or whatever. So by understanding hair, by learning, by repetition, you're going to get faster. So he wanted to keep the beard dark and full, so I like to go with the grain. Especially, like, his hair is a little bit fine on his beard. Like, the density isn't crazy, so by going with the grain, you can keep a little bit of fullness, if that makes sense. And then the chin area has way more density than the rest of his beard, so we can go against the grain at the chin area and at the mustache. And here there's a little bit of darkness, so I'm just using my scissors to clean that up, kind of lighten that up some. You guys can see the blend coming in. What's gonna happen is once you line it up, it's really gonna pop. It's really gonna stand out, but it'll also make lines pop out. For some reason, that's what happens. So I might go back and detail it even more. This haircut with beard, probably 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. If I'm not recording and I'm focused on the cut, then yeah, 35, 40 minutes. So there was a little section there I saw that had a little bit of bulk, and I think that's what I'm doing. I'm cleaning that area up. I'm gonna round the back out. Alright, so now let's get to shaping the beard. And I try to keep, the sides right here as natural as possible. And it's important, if they want a full beard, if they want it to look wider than it really is, that you got to keep it a little bit lower on the neckline. Like, don't bring it up to the chin and think it's gonna look full. Guys, I'm recording in the barbershop, like in our back room, and people keep opening the door and stuff, so it is what it is. I gotta catch a flight for Rochester in like 2 hours, so trying to be as productive as possible. I had like a 15-minute break to record this voiceover, so gotta get it done. Alright, so now we're detailing with the Tune 45 straight razor, the triple cartridge. We did apply shave gel. I think you can see it there. I guess Fonz didn't catch that part, but we did apply the shave gel. You guys can see, and like, yo, look at the difference when you pass the razor. Like like how much better his beard looks. Like, it just pops. Look at that, yo. That was good. I ain't gonna lie. That was good. That was good. I see what you did there, Fonz. I see what you did there. So that was one side. Now we're gonna line up the other side. But you guys saw the difference? Like, bro, the razor is magic. Like, straight up. Cause it's so funny. Like, with the fade and stuff, it looks good. But when you put that line on there, oh man. I wonder what Irv was thinking. That's my client. That's my client. I wonder what he was thinking. He had to have been looking in the mirror like, damn, what? Going out tonight. And the cartridge I'm using, I believe, is the medium exposure. That's the one I use most. So, I think that's it, guys. That's the finished product. I hope you guys liked it. I enjoyed doing this haircut. Very happy to share with you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. As always, smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And follow me on Instagram, man, at Bossio Cuts. Let's go.